The power of political belief. How ordinary people changed history. What does it take for a person to form their own political beliefs? Not repeat what they were taught, not simply follow the loudest voice in the room, but to think independently and act courageously. Throughout history, people have faced enormous challenges when trying to form political opinions and fight for political change. Many lived in societies where questioning authority could cost them their freedom, their careers, or even their lives. And yet, despite those obstacles, millions of ordinary people discovered something powerful. That political belief is not just an idea. It can transform attitudes, behaviors, confidence, and entire societies. Again and again, history has shown that people are capable of achieving far more than they ever imagined possible. One of the greatest challenges throughout history has been the pressure to conform. Governments, religious institutions, political parties, social classes, and even families have often tried to shape how people think. In many societies, disagreeing with the dominant political system was considered dangerous or unacceptable. During the era of monarchies in Europe, questioning kings or ruling elites could lead to imprisonment or execution. During dictatorship in the 20th century, citizens were often surrounded by propaganda designed to control political opinion. In places ruled by far, independent political thought became an act of resistance. People struggled with questions like, can I trust my own judgment? What if everyone around me disagrees? What if speaking out changes my life forever? These were not easy questions, yet history has shown that political awareness often begins when people recognize injustice in their everyday lives. Workers noticing unfair labor conditions, citizens seeing unequal treatment under the law, communities experiencing discrimination, poverty, or violence. Over time, these experiences push people to question systems they once accepted, and once people begin questioning, change becomes possible. Consider the struggle for civil rights in the United States. Before the Civil Rights Movement, many African Americans lived under segregated laws that denied them equal rights and opportunities. Speaking against these systems often brought threats, violence, and arrest. But individuals like Martin Luther King Jr. encouraged people to believe that peaceful political action could transform societies. That belief changed attitudes. People who once felt powerless began marching, organizing, voting, protesting, and demanding equality. Students sat at segregated lunch counters. Communities organized boycotts. Families risked everything for the right to vote. What changed first was not the law. What changed first was belief. People began believing they deserved more than the system they once were told they could have. And eventually, political action reshaped the nation. Now think about Gandhi and the movement for Indians' independence. At the time, many believed the British Empire was too powerful to challenge. The idea that ordinary citizens using nonviolent resistance could defeat an empire seemed impossible, but Gandhi promoted a different mindset. He argued that political power depends on the cooperation of the people. If enough individuals changed their attitudes and behavior, massive systems could be challenged peacefully. Millions joined monarchs, boycotts, and acts of civil disobedience. The political goal seemed unreachable at first, yet belief transformed fear into determination, and eventually independence became reality. Another powerful example is Nelson Mandela and the struggle against apartheid in South Africa. For decades, apartheid enforced racial segregation and inequality. Many activists were imprisoned, silenced, or killed. Mandela himself spent 27 years in prison. Imagine how easy it would have been for people to lose hope. But political belief can create endurance. It can convince people that change is still possible, even when evidence seems limited. The anti-apartheid movement inspired global support, economic pressure, and continued resilience. Eventually, the systems collapsed. Again, people achieved more than they thought was possible. Political action is not only about laws or elections. It is deeply emotional. Fear is one of the biggest obstacles people face when forming political opinions. Fear of rejection, fear of isolation, fear of failure. History shows that many people remain silent not because they lack ideas, but because they fear consequences. But political movements often succeed when individuals realize they are not alone. Shared belief creates community. When people gather around a common purpose, attitudes begin to shift. Someone who once believed, "I can't make a difference," starts thinking, "Maybe together we can." The physiological transformation is powerful. It changes behavior. People become more willing to speak publicly, to organize locally, to educate themselves, to vote, to protest, to lead. Political beliefs can turn passive observers into active participants. One of the most important lessons from history is when individuals believe their actions matter, they become more resilient, disciplined, and determined. They begin taking risks they never imagined taking before. They discover leadership qualities they did not know they possessed. And through political action, ordinary individuals become part of extraordinary transformations. History is not only shaped by powerful leaders, it is shaped by ordinary people dedicating themselves to think for themselves. People questioning injustice, overcoming fear, which require courage and self reflection, and knowing if you can believe it, you will achieve it.